You know that feeling when you're searching for something online, maybe a historic landmark, and you just keep hitting a wall? Or even worse, you find a total mess of confusing, contradictory info. Well, that's exactly the puzzle a lot of people run into when they look for the Chateau de la Roche. So, what is going on here? Let's figure it out. And yeah, this quote from our source material pretty much sums it up, right? If you've ever been staring at a search page thinking this exact same thing, trust me, you are not the first. It feels like you're chasing a ghost. But, as we're about to find out, the real story is way more interesting than just a dead end.
Exactly. What are we talking about when we say Chateau de la Roche? Is it some kind of myth, a lost landmark? Well, in this explainer, we're going to unravel this whole historical mix-up, and I'm betting the answer is not what you think.
Okay, so here's the big reveal. The reason it's so darn hard to find the Chateau de la Roche is because, well, there isn't just one. The name actually points to two completely separate but equally important castles in totally different parts of France.
Let's break this down so it's crystal clear. On one hand, you've got the Chateau de la Roche en Honfleur, that's up in Normandy. And then, on the other hand, you have the Chateau de la Roche-sur-Yon, which is way down in the Pays de la Loire region. So you see, two very different places, two very real castles, one very confusing name.
Now, here's where it gets really fascinating. Once you pull them apart, you start seeing these incredible parallels in their histories. It's almost like they were following the same playbook, just hundreds of miles apart. So, both of these castles started their lives way back in medieval times. They were built as these rugged, fortified strongholds, all about defense. But then, as times changed, so did they. When the Renaissance rolled around, both of them went through these huge expansions, transforming from military forts into stunning, elegant estates. It's a perfect snapshot of how Europe itself was changing, from a time of war to a time of art and culture.
And that shared history, it's literally carved into their walls. You can see their parallel stories reflected in the very architecture of the buildings.
And I mean, the similarities are deep. Both castles show off that classic Gothic architecture. We're talking the iconic pointed arches, the ribbed vaults, the whole deal. And the best part is, thanks to centuries of careful renovations, all that historical beauty is still there for us to see today. So what would you actually find if you walked through their gates today? All right, let's step inside and take a look at the incredible stuff both of these chateaux have to offer. Once you're inside, the parallels just keep coming. Both castles have these breathtaking great halls, with the super high ceilings and fancy decorations. They each have these gorgeous little chapels with beautiful carvings and paintings. And if you're an art fan, get this. Both of them have amazing art collections, with works by French masters like Fragonard and Boucher. Okay, so we've solved the mystery, we've seen the parallels, but why do these places still matter? Let's talk about their lasting legacy and where they fit into our world today. It's so important to remember, these weren't just fancy houses. Oh no, they were strategically vital. Both were built in key locations to control major trade and travel routes, and because of that, they played really big roles throughout some of the most important moments in French history. And that importance hasn't just faded away into a history book. Their legacy is alive and well today because they are hugely popular tourist spots. In fact, each castle gets more than 10,000 visitors every single year. People from all over the world come to step back in time. Now, here's a quick but important point of clarification. Even though they're so significant and so beautifully preserved, neither of these castles is actually on the UNESCO World Heritage Site list. Just a good fact to have in your back pocket. So after untangling this whole historical knot, what's the bottom line? Well, first, one simple name can hide two totally separate, really rich histories. Second, both of these chateaux are absolutely vital pieces of French heritage. And finally, each one gives us its own amazing, unique look into the past. And that just leaves us with one last thing to think about. If this one name was hiding the stories of two incredible castles, it kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many other histories, how many other discoveries are just out there, waiting for us to find them, hidden behind a single, simple name?